Nouvelle Vague was a very important moment in French cinema.
The first look is inspired by one of my favorite films ever.
The look is all about
It was very revolutionary at that time. It started, but it was still a bit shocking.
Hi Parisian Vibe, today we're going to talk about fashion but also about films because I really wanted to show you 5 looks inspired by movies from the Nouvelle Vague. So Nouvelle Vague was a very important moment in French cinema because it was all about being more simple and closer to reality. So in these movies you're going to see very ordinary intrigues. I mean, someone who doesn't have money, a girl who falls in love with 2 boys, that kind of things. And in the fashion as well, during these movies, outfits were really simple. It was nothing like Hollywood-esque about big dresses and fancy stuff. It was just very simple outfits from real life that also were the symbol of what happened in France at the moment, with the women being more free in their clothes and everything. So we're shooting this in the 8th arrondissement of Paris, which is very important for films. Many scenes were filmed in this area. So I hope you're gonna like it and enjoy.
The first look is inspired by one of my favorite films ever, which is The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, filmed by Jacques Demy, who is a literal genius. The story is about a young girl named Geneviève, played by Catherine Deneuve, who feels very tenderly towards her boyfriend, Guy, who is a really poor guy. He works in a garage, and they are madly in love. I mean, they are young, they are beautiful. But the problem is that Guy receives a letter. He has to leave to go to war in Algeria. So this is a really heartbreaking movie, spoilers. And the problem is that he leaves, and Geneviève finds out that she's pregnant with him. And her mother doesn't want her to marry a poor guy who works in a garage. So it's a really sad film, but I love it because it's so beautiful, and there are a lot of beautiful songs. It's a musical, and I'm just so inspired by this film that I decided to create a look inspired by it. So the most iconic piece in the film is obviously the trench coat worn by Catherine Deneuve in the film, because obviously it's set in Cherbourg, which is a very rainy city, just like Paris right now. And I wanted to associate it with this blue vintage scarf by Hermès, because it's one of the most present colors in the film. And I've associated with little Carrel babies, because they translate the ingénue look that Catherine Deneuve has in the film. And it feels to me that it's a very elegant yet feminine look that represents very well why Catherine Deneuve was such an icon in those years during the Nouvelle Vague. Mon amour, je t'aimerai toute ma vie. Je ne pourrai pas me partager amoureux. Je te cacherai, oui, je te garderai, mais mon amour ne me quitte pas.
So for the second look, I took inspiration from the movie Belle de Jour, starring Catherine Deneuve, again, such an icon. The movie is actually about a really interesting story. It's about a character played by Catherine Deneuve, Séverine, who is a very elegant and classy woman. She's happily married, and she suddenly starts to prostitute herself. So she goes to one of those institutions, Maison Close, and she works during the day with clients, which is her nickname, Belle de Jour, day beauty, because she can't work at night because she has to come back to her house with her husband. So the look is all about a very simple yet feminine style, very elegant, very Catherine Deneuve, with a little black dress made by Sierra Paris, which is a sustainable brand, with a white silk scarf. And what is really interesting about this look is that it's a tribute to what Yves Saint Laurent loved a lot with the contrast between black and white. Catherine Deneuve was one of Yves Saint Laurent muses, so I think this look is a tribute to her style in general. So this third look is inspired by one of François Truffaut's films, Jules et Jim. The story is about two guys who fall in love with the same girl named Catherine, and in one of the scenes of the movie she dresses up as a boy. She even wears a little moustache, and it was very revolutionary at that time because of course women weren't used to wearing trousers. It was still a man's piece of clothes, so it was quite striking at the moment when Catherine wore some trousers. So we wanted to recreate it, but adding a more modern and feminine touch with the cardigan with pearl buttons and the bright lipstick. We wanted to take a little beret to hide my hair. So, do you think I look like a boy?
This last look is inspired by L'amour l'après-midi, which is the last moral film by Éric Rohmer, who is one of my favorite filmmakers of the Nouvelle Vague. In this movie, there is this character called Zouzou, who is a really free-spirited woman. She is not afraid of talking about her sexual affairs to the main character, Frédéric, and she wears that kind of outfit at some point during the film, which I really like because it's really feminine with the red fitting turtleneck, which highlights the curves, and the boyish jeans made by Lewis, which is a bit more masculine. So you see that it's the perfect image of her character in the film, which just is exactly like the women of her time. Like, women started wearing jeans at that time, and that was really, it started, but it was still a bit shocking and hence a bit sexy. I think it's really sexy when women wear jeans. What do you think, guys?